Ding.
That's pinged. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 16 of our Nerd Podcast.
The reboot podcast. We are
Possibly
changing up our style a little bit this time, if we can.
Yep.
We have decided that we're no longer going to use our full names. We're going to just use our internet handles instead. So
easier to find us.
Yep.
And everything else that we do.
Yeah.
Luke goes by the name of
Scazius.
Nick goes by the name of
the Suffolk Cram.
and I go by the name of Bard. So
if you're part of the Steam group, you'd have realised this anyway.
You know our names, yeah.
Well, all six of us.
Yeah. There's this.
So I guess it'll be Gaz, Ram, and Bard from now then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sounds kind of bad.
It sounds pretty awful.
I like it.
I've already got so many jokes forming in my mind right now, and I'm just preventing myself from saying them.
You're supposed to be the clean-minded one, dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm the sensible one in the group.
Of course. Maybe.
Possibly.
Of sheep and musicians.
Well, that's
An erotic tale.
Okay.
Of generally wrong proportions. So much for the reboot, right? Right.
Yeah, like, already tanked to clean off of a cliff. It's like, yes, how long did it take to screw that one up? Oh no, I've done it again. Now the podcast has officially started in the clean audio department. Good job.
Right. Do we need to do our intro again?
No. I will splice it with the Google one and say that I cocked it up.
Fair enough. We can live with that.
So everybody now just knows we're using our handles and not our names.
Yeah. Well, I can't help. I was busy waiting for the thing to go bing. I forgot that this thing is the thing that makes the sound.
Are we not meant to start that first before you make the thing go bing?
Yeah, but I forgot. Because we're talking about tea and death metal.
Yeah.
Look, I was already set up.
Things.
If I was ready...
You have one job, which is to hit that record button and push that button on there. That is your job. And then edit it. And then send it to me.
And set everything up in the first
upload
place.
it and set it all up. And that's other than that, you've only got one job to do.
Think about me. I have to think of stuff to put in these bloody show notes every week.
I thought he has to turn up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's like,
He has to wait outside his house for me to give him a lift. And, and half of me doesn't manage that. No offence.
Well, yeah, I leave Nick waiting for ages. I'm horrendously awful.
I'll be there at this time.
See, this is the thing that has to be mentioned for this episode. We were ready like an hour in advance.
Yeah.
And somehow we ended up being an hour late. It's like,
Yeah.
and I still managed to cock up the recording.
Yeah. We sat down and they said, oh,
That's how it
45
goes.
minutes to go. That's a record.
Let's just chill out for a bit.
Yeah.
That's because we spent all that time making the perfect cup of tea.
And even that turned out cold.
Yeah.
God, we are so good
I
at
was
this.
so disappointed. I thought that was coffee and it turned out to be tea.
Well, we'll get you some coffee
Good.
next time. Do you
Good.
have a particular kind of coffee you
Yes,
like?
the most expensive one that Sainsbury's do.
It's all about the dough egg bits.
Now I'll bring some coffee with me next
You
time.
want to go to Sainsbury's? You... I'd get arrested.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's why I go to Sainsbury's to let the riff-raff in.
Games we've been
I love how the previous feedback is we waffle on a bit too much and we've just spent the first 5 minutes waffling. So,
well, according to the audio recorder, 2 minutes. So it doesn't
that's right then. Game's been playing. So,
Oh, cock. Do we have to include me in this one?
Yeah.
you put at the top of the list, you go first.
Well, yeah, because I was the first one on the show notes, but fine. Fine. Just because everyone else is slow. Nick shares it and doesn't type anything for 6 days. I was like, well, I guess I'd better put something in. Just
Eventually check my email. I was like, oh yeah, I better write something on the
oh, wait, it's the
notes.
podcast in 15 minutes. I better put something in the show notes. Nick's all like, better biro that in because we didn't print it out. So, I've been playing the old Nintendo 3DS Street Pass games.
Right.
You know, they've got that kind of like Me Maker, and then they've got the whole Wi-Fi.
My exposure to it was purely Street Fighter, in that
Right.
when you Street Pass, your characters do battle.
Yeah.
You get stuff from it.
So some games have Street Pass features built in. Street Fighter's
Yeah.
got them. I think Zelda's got them. I think the new Smash Brothers game will have them. Shovel Knight will have them. But basically, when you walk past another 3DS owner, they kind of connect, transfer a bit of information over, and then stuff happens. You can play mini games or whatever. Well, the Street Pass games are the ones that I've been playing, anyways. Are Nintendo's Me Plaza things that are for your little Nintendo.
Yeah,
Mii
yeah, I
characters.
remember those.
They got a few little neat ones. You have to pay like £10 to get the full set.
You get like puzzle pieces and stuff.
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
you?
You walk past people, you can trade puzzle pieces, set up like your own kingdom.
I remember when I had a 3DS, it was the year of Luigi, and I had like actual Nintendo devs on my Street Pass. Like I think Miyamoto was on there, and then some of the others. Yeah, Iwata was on mine. Yeah, and they all had little Luigi hats just as part of that. And yeah, that was interesting. It seems like it's got some interesting stuff going for it.
Well, there's something else that Nintendo did, because they realized that in America and the UK, it's not quite like Japan, where you've got billions of people in literally, I don't know, 3 square feet, and everyone's got their console on them all the time.
Yeah.
Here, kind of lives in their house, doesn't go anywhere, and their console tends to stay on the shelf.
We're really unsocial in this country.
Yeah, exactly. So the kind of feature was a bit redundant. So
I like the fact that you had the pedometer built into it, so that the more you travel with your 3DS on you, the more coins you collect.
Yeah, and
you can use them for
those
stuff,
in some of the mini games as well.
And you can use them to unlock things in all sorts of the bigger games as well.
Yeah. So what Nintendo did was they made something called Spot Pass, which is kind of like Street Pass, but it's with certain registered Wi-Fi hotspots. Like you've got like BT Open Zone and stuff like that. Places like Game, the library,
McDonald's.
McDonald's and that. If you pass those, they will actually collect data from other registered Nintendo hotspots or Nintendo zones or whatever they're called, and pull characters from all over the country to pass them onto your 3D.
That's pretty cool.
So you don't kind of have to do Street Pass. You now kind of have like Country Pass, Spot Pass. So you can walk past McDonald's and somehow.
So this is basically involuntary multiplayer.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's not always so much multiplayer driven, is it? Sometimes just having the other me's and stuff it's not always based on playing games with people, is it? Always.
No, I mean you can unlock certain things. And you've got the traded puzzle pieces and stuff.
Like the Street Fighter thing I had, you didn't necessarily play the game. It was just that your characters clashed, one randomly won, and then you got some stuff out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could unlock little bits and bobs for other little games. Like that person's character would come in and drop by with something that they've been doing in their game, and then you would unlock whatever they've done. But see, now I'm an antisocial git. I don't go anywhere.
I was actually going to say it compares more to for like Nick's benefit here. It would compare more to like say your Steam social stuff, the stuff that you can do on Steam to get badges and awards and things. It's more like that than it is a multiplayer experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
So, because I don't have much of a reason to go into town, I have reasons to go pretty much in the opposite direction. I don't go anywhere near any of the Spot Pass things. There's none in this area, right? Unless I go up to the McDonald's by the water tower.
Yeah.
Which is well out of my way, because it's not often I go and get a McDonald's out in the middle of the sticks. So, I thought to myself, I wonder if it's at all possible to spoof these, because they're kind of fun little games, but I can't really play them because I don't bump into many other characters. And although we do have another 3DS in the house, Inky's got a 3DS, my wife, so I kind of bump into her character every now and then. It's kind of difficult to play some of these games because the Mii's that you bump into become characters in the mini games.
Right.
So it's kind of difficult to play these games properly if only one person is passing. It progresses so slowly, it's not even worth playing. I thought, I wonder if there's any way I can kind of spoof one of these hotspots and make my own kind of Nintendo relay. So I did a bit of research and I found it's actually pretty damned easy. And this is going to go like kind of trail into, I guess I can throw it into stuff we're looking forward to, but it ain't stuff we're looking forward to now. It'll be games, hardware, and other news. So I've got one now. I used a Raspberry Pi to set up my own Nintendo Wi-Fi hotspot.
Cool.
It turns out that all you have to do is copy the SSID, the network ID of the Wi-Fi address of the hotspot that would normally be registered with a Nintendo thing.
Yeah.
And then if you can find out the MAC address of that thing, literally all it does is says, is it an SSID we know? So is it a network we know? Yes. Is it a MAC address we know tied into that SSID? Yes. Now pass on the information that has passed that point to that 3DS.
That's a piece of piss, then.
Exactly. You can literally just
because laptop basic software, you can find out the MAC address of a Wi-Fi point.
Exactly, and you can literally just kind of go into terminal and spoof the MAC address.
MAC will tell you anyway. Yeah, it just tells you in the utilities what the MAC address and everything is.
Exactly, but you can change your Wi-Fi card in here to spoof the MAC address of the one of the hotspot. You could then spoof the hotspot with that at your own home and kind of create your own Street Pass relay or Spot Pass relay. That's what I've done with the Raspberry Pi. Except mine rotates every 15 minutes to a different MAC address. So I've constantly got people coming in and out of my Me Plaza, so I can constantly play these little mini games.
That's cool.
Really.
How long before Nintendo locked that down?
Well, people have been doing it for the last year or so.
Oh.
I don't honestly think Nintendo really give a toss because it's just a way for people to be able to play the games. And the more people can play them, the more that's pay for them. So it's not like you're hurting the community by playing the games.
No.
So, because there are some people that obviously live out in the countryside that aren't going to be able to, one, walk past anyone with a 3DS, or two, have much of a reason to go to their village where there probably isn't a Nintendo hotspot anyway.
No.
Probably not even many people
So,
have 3DS.
For those of us who haven't got 3DSs, what's the actual range of a normal street pass? I mean, do you have to be within like a couple feet of each other, or do you have to...
No, I mean, it's kind of like...
I think the way they described it on some of the videos is like, if you could be in the same train carriage as someone, you get it. So you think the width of a train carriage,
Is it Wi-Fi connection between the two 3DSs?
Yes, kind of, bing, as long as you kind of the bubbles cross each other slightly, then you're pretty much golden.
And do you have to be in range for a certain length of time for it to work? Or?
No, it just seems to straight out pass. But then that's how Spot Pass works. Is the bonuses they're already pulled in, and you literally just cross and that's how it goes.
I used to get a fair few on mine because obviously when I was doing my diploma at college, I used to take the college with me, and you get ones from the college. Plenty of people that had them, so and I'd be surprised how many people you get crop up on there. Actually, it's pretty good.
I got some in town the other day, which is when I got the idea: could I maybe make my own? And it's simple enough. You can do it with a laptop. I just decided to do it with a Raspberry Pi because the Pi uses no power, and I can leave it run all day. I don't power an entire machine. Big old beefy machine just to create a little access point.
No.
Really neat, really fun little games. Probably worth a tenner. And making your own hotspot just adds to the fun.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat little thing, isn't it? Really.
It's kind of cool.
That's cool.
It was a fun little project. I thought it was neat. That's all I've got to say. Really, they're cool. Get a 3DS.
Fair enough.
Right. Well, I think the only other thing we've got in games we've been playing is mine, which is the Steam Director's Cut of Shantae Risky's Revenge. Now,
is that the sequel to the Game Boy Color game, or is that the Game Boy Color game?
It's the sequel to the Game Boy Color game. The Game Boy Color game, just called Shantae, is a Capcom game that was released on the Game Boy Color. Interestingly, it came out at the end of the Game Boy Color's life, just as the Game Boy Advance was coming out. So it's a 32 gig cartridge. It's got like an extra bit stuck onto it. You can put it into a Game Boy Advanced, and you get extra stuff. Apparently, which is quite neat. I thought, like,
I've never tried it with the
you get more things on the playing it through the Advanced than you would from playing it on the regular Game Boy Color. The game itself, the new one, is the sequel to that game. It originally came out on the DSi as part of their DSiWare, which was the downloadable games, but has since been updated to play on Steam. Has got the graphics a little bit better, tidied up a little bit. Got some extra character models put in just for the discussion pieces. It seems pretty good. The general idea of the game is Shantae is a half genie. She's the genie for this little town. I actually can't remember the name of the damn town. But yeah, it's like a little sort of seaside port town that's attacked by these random pirate people, which are led by Risky Boots, this pirate captain. And she is looking for a particular kind of treasure. So she just goes on this sort of rampage through the town to try and get it, and you kind of fight her off, and then you end up having to go on a quest to prevent her from getting hold of this treasure. I don't know, there's a lot going on. It's a pretty standard 2D platform, old school fare, really. It's a bit of an odd game. Shantae's best friend seems to be a zombie called Rotty Tops, and her brothers, which are also zombies. Apparently zombies, if they drink coffee, don't go on wild brain-eating rampages. So
you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
There you go, that's why we need coffee.
This is where they've gone on The Walking Dead, obviously, all as long.
Apparently
Give the zombies
also works
coffee.
On vampires, according to Terry Pratchett.
Give the vampires coffee, and they're sorted.
Replace one addiction with another one.
Yeah.
Apparently works a treat.
Make sure they're not counting things instead. But yeah, it's a cool little game. It's kind of like a Metroidvania, in the sense that you can explore, even though it's a 2D platformer, with a little bit of a twist in that you have layers in the levels So when you come across a little point that will be like a little arrow on the ground, either pointing up or down, you can traverse it and go into another scene. So rather than it just being straight 2D fair, it actually, the world goes in and out as well. So there's an outside area and an inside area.
So you've got middle ground.
Yeah, a good place where it really shows it off is there's a forest you can go into, and you can actually see all the background areas taking place while you're in the foreground. So you can see what enemies you're going to be facing when you jump to the next bit, which is pretty cool. I kind of like that. The other big feature is that Shantae's big power is she can transform into things. I've only played 2 so far. At the moment I could transform her into a monkey or an elephant, and they do various things to help you get through the map in sort of Metroidvania style. Like, for example, the monkey can climb, so get you out of danger, or find new areas. The elephant can smash its way through rocks, so it'll unlock new areas for you, that kind of thing, basically. Have you ever played a game called Tombi or Tomba? Anyone here?
Yes.
Yeah, well, anyone who's played Tomba will find it kind of similar to that, crossed maybe with, say, Symphony of the Night. That's how it plays.
Okay.
Really. I'm really digging it. It's got lovely sort of graphics. It's sort of 16-bit looking, but a little bit better. Maybe looks like a higher tier Amiga game. Okay. Like I can't think of an example offhand, but like the later games that came out for the Amiga, really nice backgrounds and foregrounds. All the artwork's fantastic. Yeah, really good game. I only picked it up for about £7, I think. Yeah, $6.99 on Steam.
It's about 11 or 12 on the DS.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, still.
Mhm.
Didn't you say the original was £4 something for the 3DS?
Console.
Funnily enough, because I'd had no exposure to this game before, I'd been reading about it on forums, and it wasn't this version I'd been reading about. I was reading about the one that's coming out, which has apparently been kickstarted and has all this extra stuff, and people were talking about it and saying how good the others were. So I thought when I saw it on Steam, it's that game, I'll pick it up. But it's actually an earlier one. But I'm not disappointed because it's still a really good game and kind of has me hyped for getting a new one, really. Yeah. Yeah, pretty good game. I'd definitely recommend it. Cool.
Perfect. Excellent.
Marvellous. Now, Nick, I just want to bring up, you've been doing, because we are talking about games you've been playing, you've been doing a Let's Play, and you're now coming up to the end of it?
Yes, I've been doing a Let's Play on the original Deus Ex, Game of the Year edition. Mm-hmm. I'm now finishing off recording episode 10, and I reckon I've got about another 2, maybe 3 to go before I've completely finished.
Right. So how long are the episodes? They've been pretty damn long. So
2 to 2.5 hours each.
And those are edited, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are quite long, but it's because it's quite a long game. So it's actually because I've not played it in about 8 years. Even though it's one of my favourite games, I've not played it in about 8-9 years. So it's been a bit of an excuse to go back and re-experience an old game.
Does it still hold up?
Yeah.
Does it actually still play properly on?
Yeah, plays absolutely fine. And the great thing about it is that you can tweak it because obviously in the actual options mode they haven't got widescreen resolution and everything like that built into it. Well, they've got a few, but not a lot. But because it's an Unreal-based game, you literally just go into an RNI file and change it. So I've been running at HD resolution.
Oh, that's cool.
1080, yeah.
So that doesn't kind of semi-break the game by doing that. Just
HD is as high as it will let you go. Someone has tried it higher. Someone did try and do it to 4K, and it broke the game.
Oh, okay, cool.
It just couldn't render it properly. But HD works absolutely fine, which is great because I can record HD video of it. And it's interesting to see how it holds up compared to modern games because it's like incredibly complicated in many ways. But the thing is, if you break any part of it's quite poor. Voice acting is terrible, and some really painful voice acting. When you go to Hong Kong, it is so painful. It's literally they've got their American voice actors to just think of a Chinese person do that accent.
I'm thinking like Monkey Magic kind of dubbing.
Yeah, yeah. It is just there's several bits which are just sort of you shudder as you hear them.
It's cringeworthy.
Yeah, it is very cringeworthy.
Going back to what you were just saying there about the game being quite in depth and complicated. That game came out in 98, did it not?
99.
99. There's a couple of years, 97, 98, 99. We've gone pre-podcast. We were talking about Baldur's Gate 2, another game that I was just comparing it to sort of modern WRPGs and saying how it's more complex than they are and had more going for it. 98 and 99 are kind of golden ages for games. Like I find that a lot of console and PC games at that time had a lot more care put into them and are way more in depth than some of the newer games. That seems to be a lot of other games have spoken about it as well, saying it's pretty much a golden age in some ways.
What I love about games of that time, and I mean, you two may not agree with me, but I find that a lot of those games, if you were to look at, pull them each little piece of it out, you'd be like, that's turd.
Yeah.
That's goddamn
Oh,
awful.
definitely.
But when you put it together, it's amazing.
Yeah.
When you look at games now, you'll pull it out and say, that looks amazing. Yeah. That sounds amazing. You then put it all together and you're like, oh my god, this is bloody
There's
awful.
so many things it does wrong. I mean, there's no hacking minigame. Hacking is that you click a button and then you wait a bit and then you hack it. And you have a timer, and when it hits 0, the alarm goes off. But the only difference is you get better at hacking by having skills is you just hack it quicker. So you have more time to read the email and so forth.
Yeah.
Other things I like about the fact that there's no weapon progression. You said you start off, if there's only one of each type of weapon, so you've only got an assault rifle, there's no like variation of them. You've got a sniper rifle, you've got a pistol, and a stealth pistol, to be fair. But then what comes is you get loads of weapon mods, so you can mod them, and they stack. So it's not the case of, okay, once you've put a recoil mod on this one, you can't ever add them more, you can just keep adding them. So I've got an assault rifle that I've got a sniper rifle I've made so accurate, it's like pinpoint accuracy.
You can point it behind himself and
yeah,
bam, headshot over there.
It's pretty much. And
I don't know why, but when you said you could keep on stacking all the mods, for some reason I had this this vision of you with a sniper rifle about 8 scopes down the barrel.
Yeah, you can only add a scope and a laser once. And large grenade ones, but if like magazine mod.
Shows how retro I am, but I was thinking of a Tommy gun. Shit, the cartridge just lined up underneath it. Like,
well, you can have there's magazine mods, which means your magazines get bigger, so you can keep adding those on. It just increases it by a percentage every time. Reload time mods, accuracy mods can increase. So you can. I've got like a really accurate assault rifle now. The default one's rubbish. When you add all this mods to it, so that's quite a neat little trick. Plus, it's got one of the best weapons in the game, the Dragon Tooth sword. I love it.
Stacking mods just made me think when we said about stacking all different things of the same thing. Like, technically that shouldn't work. It just makes me think of them little mod scooters with little headlights on.
Yeah.
I was just like, that is one crazy looking sniper rifle, but must
work. Well, it works. I mean, you're absolutely right though. Everything about it is that all the instruments shouldn't work. I mean, animation is terrible in many ways. The voice acting is terrible. Some of the mechanics are very clunky. I mean, shooting is very clunky. But it just somehow it works.
That's my gripe with one game. They're so polished that they lose a lot of that magic.
They try too hard to focus on.
The problem is there's no passion in it. Like you can see the passion shine through in a game that sometimes doesn't really work or is broken in some ways. They didn't have much of a choice
back then, though, did they?
Yeah, but it's like it's a game that somebody wanted to make, and that's why it shines through. Really,
this is my fear. I was thinking about. I think I can't remember if I talked about this on the Let's Play or not, but I was feeling like, you know, when you get a book you like and you enjoy and you read it.
Yeah.
Part of the enjoyment of the fact that it's all on paper word and they describe it to you. It's in your head how you imagine it. So the characters sound like how you think they're going to sound, and the environment to how you think they are. And then if it gets turned into a film, they may stay faithful to the descriptions, but they're not quite how you imagined it. And somehow that makes a film less special than the book.
Yeah.
And that's why I tend to books to film.
Yeah, like your version, although we've both read the same book, it will be very different for the...
And same with these games, because they're so simple. When you go and you have to let your imagination work a little bit and add stuff to them and create these little extra details into them that you have to read into. You know, when the AI does something a bit bizarre, and, you know, it just sort of runs away for no reason, you think, okay, I must be a really scary dude. It's not, because the AI's had a bit of a
the original Deus Ex is a good example of that, because it can be played in so many ways that people's experiences are going to differ. Like, it's going to be a different game depending on who's playing it.
That's the trick of the transformative media of gaming, really, isn't it? It's going to be different for all of us based on how we play it, unless it's a super linear game. That's also another reason why I'm not too bothered about games that offer kind of character customization. Like, you can give me a stock bloke with a beard and long hair and Viking helmet or whatever, but to me that's going to be a completely different character to how you imagine it, because I'm going to put a bit of myself onto it. I'm going to read the lines.
The characters have to be more than just physically different, though, for it to be a different experience. It has to be played a different way, I find. Whether that be you're playing as a different class or your class is tailored to your play style.
Well, I mean, we all tend to play very differently. You know, I've noticed that, like, you know, you'll play completely differently to how I will, and Nick will play way differently from how, like, say, you will. I'm a murderous bastard, even if my character isn't supposed to be.
No, I like lots of silent kills.
See, Nick's the stealthy motherfucker.
I'm your talky sharp. I like to have a talkative character.
Fish, you say I'm a stealthy motherfucker, to use your language. But I realised actually something when I was playing this. I thought, actually, I'm not that stealthy. I'm stealthy in the sense that I go in, but I kill everybody rather than seeing me. But I still kill everybody.
Yeah, he's
That's still stealthy. You're a ninja.
I'm a stealthy murderous bastard. It's like, this isn't really stealth. I thought, I actually tested, this isn't really stealth when I'm walking away. This is not quite how it's meant to be.
It is if you're hiding the bodies and the guard can't find the corpses. They're all like,
and break the necks
yeah. That is amusing, because there are points where the guards that just walk up to a body, just completely ignore their friend, just lying there unconscious on the floor and just walk away.
I remember playing a game on the Vita called Shinobido 2, and what used to really bug me about it is it being an assassination mission. It would be like, yeah, kill this merchant, and I would sneak all the way through the level and kill the merchant, and it's like, oh, you get a high score if you kill all the guards. So surely that defeats the object of being an assassin. Yeah. You want to get in, kill the dude, and get out. That's the idea.
The Hitman method, yeah. Hitman's basically, you've got a rating based on, but they when they give it up to a late point, they didn't actually punish you in a way for your rating. It was just a rating. So if you did the silent assassin approach, you didn't kill anybody apart from your target, and you're very careful, and you kill anybody you did, you get really sort of stealth around, but you could just go and all guns blazing everybody.
Yeah. I remember having a lot of fun with an axe in Hitman 2.
See, and that's the trick. Like, the character's some random bald bloke that's supposed to go around silently killing everyone. Thorny goes in and just brutally murders everyone.
He goes from being random bald bloke to random skinhead with an axe.
The last Hitman I did, last one was Blood Money, I did the accident run, where you go and you make everything look like an accident.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And there's the best, sometimes the game sets it up in a way you can do accidents. The simplest one is you grab a guy and throw him down the stairs, so it looks like he's fallen down the stairs. But the one
that's the fifth person today I've seen fall down the stairs.
But the one that always makes moments in my mind is you go to this theatre, and they're performing a play. I can't remember play, it's an opera. And at one point, one of the guys gets out a gun and shoots a blank at this other guy and executes him. There's two people you've got to kill. This theatre. You've got the guy who's got his best friend up on stage. He needs to be killed, and the best friend needs to be killed. So what you can do is you can wait for the breaking performance, and this only happens once. If you can't do it. You then follow the guy who does with the pistol into his changing room, and when he sort of gets distracted and leaves, you get out, you swap his pistol for the real one.
That's pretty cool.
But you then have to go up top of the stairs, and you plant. I don't know how this quite comes as of an accident, but you plant a mine on the top of a chandelier, which is holding the chandelier up. So what you do is you wait. And what happened is, first of all, they'll start the play again. You've got his best friend watching him on stage.
Take a guess.
Yeah.
When the gun pops off, the mine goes.
No.
Cover the...
No, that's not. You're close. So the gun pops off and kills his best friend who's on the stage. The guy, aghast at this, runs down to stage to see him, and as he gets on stage, that's when you detonate the mine, blow chandelier, and drop it on top of his head. Double accident. One guy gets shot by accident. The other guy, unfortunately, has a chandelier fall on his head.
That's a little less probable, but yeah.
That's the accident.
That's what I thought. Maybe if the gun had gone off as the mine goes off, you'd covered up part of the explosion.
That is pretty cool. I always used to laugh at the first mission in Hitman 2 because it just like I felt like
was
I was
that
playing...
the Mafia one where you sneak into that big?
And I felt like I was playing Porno the game because I'm basically walking up to a house as a milkman, and it's just like, this is a bit sketchy. What's happening here?
I was something Hitman with the fact that the guard, you had to not get too close to him so he wouldn't recognise you. But I love the animation. Every guard who went up to used to rub his chin and go, Like, I've never seen one work in real life. You walk past them and they go, do I know you? It's like, I'm the milkman. You don't know me. I'm covering for somebody. I've got a tattoo on the back of my head, but ignore that. I'm just covering for somebody.
I'm about to club your cheese, why? But
yeah,
it's all right, mate.
It's all right. Yeah,
it'll be fine.
Excellent. Right. So stuff we're looking forward to. Luke.
Oh Christ! Right. Well,
again, you're top of the list.
Here we go.
Getting in early.
It's not okay. So I'm not really sure if I can keep this in stuff we're looking forward to, but I can combo it into games, hardware, and other news as well for me. But the Raspberry Pi Model B,
pretty tasty.
Yes, a very tasty piece of hardware. The Model B Plus got announced the other day, or it might have been a couple of weeks ago. I only realised it had been announced the other day. So if anyone isn't sure, I'm sure I've mentioned them on the podcast before, but the Raspberry Pi is a credit card size ARM-based computer that costs about 20 quid.
Right.
Not a lot of grunt, but it's supposed to be kind of this cheap thing that you can buy for kids.
Yeah.
So that you can learn programming.
And was it for like third world countries as well, which could afford?
They've set up computer labs in
cool.
third world countries with just these little machines because they are so bloody cheap. I mean, the worst thing you're going to do is break a memory card. Just, flash the memory card, put it back in, and it's running again.
Yeah.
Couple of minutes to set back up.
Yeah.
The Raspberry Pis they've got like camera boards. So people have been sending them up on weather balloons to take pictures of. Because
if it falls and breaks, it doesn't really matter.
You've not really lost a lot.
Yeah.
So people have done some really, really cool stuffs, and they've been kind of doing them in schools and that. And I mean, we've got about 4 of them in the house: the older models, the original one, a Model A, which is like the really cut down, cheapy one.
Yeah, looks like it was made in university, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And then we've got the Model B upgrade with 512 megabytes of RAM. People are like, 512 megs? What are you gonna do with that? It's like, well, it does its job, it does stuff, and it plays HD video back really well.
Yeah.
Anyways, some of the problems with the Raspberry Pi is it's actually quite limited with its inputs, unless you want to go onto the GPIO, which is a series of pins that you can kind of connect up to and control parts of the board. So the Model A, the really low-end cut-down model, had 1 USB port.
Right.
So you plug in a mouse or a keyboard or a hub.
Yeah.
Now the hub's going to cost you a bit of extra money.
Yes.
So then you might as well spend that extra money and then bought the original Model B.
Yeah.
Which then has 2 USB ports and a network port. So now you can plug in your mouse and your keyboard, or you can use one of them
connect to a router and away you go.
You can use one of those kind of like them little multi-wireless things where your mouse and your keyboard connect up to the same dongle, and then you've got something for a memory stick or whatever. Job done. Functioning computer. But sometimes for some users that was still a bit iffy because if say for example my youngest son Noodle has an XMC set up, a media center set up in his bedroom, but he doesn't have a television with speakers for the HDMI output to pass through the audio.
Yeah.
He has a PC monitor, so we have to plug in a set of PC speakers. But they need to be powered from a USB port. So we can plug in a mouse and his speakers, but we can't plug in a keyboard.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to get a hub because then that just adds to more guff you have to put on the table. Model B Plus comes out now with 4 USB ports.
Yeah.
So now, for people like me, you can have your mouse, your keyboard, and if you want to, if you set up an emulation box, have a USB like a USB control pad connected up, and still have space for, a Wi-Fi stick, speakers, memory stick or whatever. It's just a little bit more kind of fleshed out.
That's really good. Yeah, that's what you really want.
And it's still just as cheap. It's like £22. I accidentally bought 2 of them. But that's but I was using a Raspberry Pi.
There's a trend with you accidentally buying 2 things.
I was thinking the same thing. We've killed him. Yeah. I think he says he accidentally buys these things, but really he just likes to say, "Oh, I accidentally bought 2 Raspberry Pis. What am I going to do with them both?"
Well, the problem I had with the Raspberry Pi was I think what had happened was I put it in the basket, and they wouldn't let me use my account. I'd forgot my username and password, so I created a new
Sounds like
username.
a fairy tale. Raspberry Pis in baskets. You got to see your grandma.
Yeah. Watch
out for that wolf.
Yeah.
But I put it in the basket, went to go buy it, and I was like, yeah, your username and password's wrong. I was like, okay, so I'll reset my password. No, you can't. The username is wrong. So, but you've just told me that was my username a minute ago. Okay, then so I set up a new username, but the Pi's already in my basket from earlier. But I had to go back to the site, and so I went and re-added it into the basket and just basically hammered through the checkout. So yet again, I ended up buying something extra, but it's kind of neat because the extra the extra Model B Plus will now be used to replace Noodle's old Model B, so he can actually have the extra USB ports for his speakers and stuff.
That's
good. Because the poor little bugger's had films now with no sound because one of the things has gone dodgy.
Oh, well, you could put subtitles on. That'll help learn them, teach them to read.
That'll help learn them to read.
That'll learn them to read.
But
like I does.
I speak proper England, I do. Or I does.
Gotta learn them with them UBS port thingies.
Them powers, them pies. One of them newfangled pies I have.
So what's this to a BlackBerry then, son? I don't know.
Yeah, new model Raspberry Pi out. Still really cheap, still really cool. I show you guys one running in the living room with Scum VM playing Discworld.
Yeah.
Is it a HDMI output for monitor? Or is it a VGA?
HDMI. HDMI, and it has got composite video out as well, so you can plug it into a regular old standard def tube TV, which is kind of neat because people have been building arcade cabinets out of them. Really neat little bits of kit, if I had to be honest. I mean, it plays Quake 3 Arena at 1080p, 30 FPS, and you can play, you can play Doom, you play Quake. You just play all your old retro games and your old emulators on it, and then do a bit of programming on the side.
It's like just saying that there's now a little box about that big, which is about 4 inches big, that can play. That's more powerful than my first PC.
It is crazy though, isn't it? When you think about it, you had a. Because can you remember when we first got like PCs back in 95 and 97, and your machine had like maybe a terabyte hard drive in it. And my first PC had 100 gig hard drive on it, and that was big. No, sorry, that's what I meant. Like a 1 gig hard drive. Yeah. That was like a fucking terabyte back then.
That was my first personal PC. Before that, our old first PC had like 2 gig hard drive.
Yeah, I had like a gig and a half. Well, I can remember when Afro came in. My mate Afro came into high school once, and he goes, "Yeah, we got this new PC. It's got like a 30, he said 36 gig hard drive." I was like, "Fuck, you'll never use that."
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at I use terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of storage. That Raspberry Pi has got 32 gigs of storage. Crazy, I was like, that's more than we'd have had way back
Not
when.
only is it just your PC, it's all your games consoles.
I'm presuming that 32 gigs, I'm presuming that's solid state storage as well.
It's just a micro SD. So it's not particularly fast, but I mean, it does the job, right?
Yeah.
I can still peg it down the stairs and nothing's going to break.
Yeah.
So, that's neat. It's not particularly powerful. 700 megahertz ARM processor, but you can overclock it to about a gig. At 700 megahertz, apparently it equates to about 200 megahertz Pentium 2, I guess. One, but,
I thought ARM was quite sophisticated.
Yeah, but if you were to compare it directly to something like that, then it's not. The clock speeds don't quite add up. And that's like saying my AMD base clock may be higher than your Intel chip, but your Intel chip is still quicker than my.
It's not the clock speed; it's how it uses it.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but the graphics processing it still processes 1080p video. Still plays a reasonable amount of games quite well, considering how it's not like super powered. I just think it's a really neat piece of kit, and I think everyone should get one and play with them.
Yeah, I'm actually considering picking one up. Sounds pretty good.
I'm tempted.
Oh, seriously, mate, I would. I mean, I think they're absolutely brilliant. I mean, you could just literally snap it in half and just go out and buy another one, not having to worry about it.
I wouldn't buy it for that purpose, but
I mean, you could try and eat it.
This is my new Raspberry Pi.
It doesn't taste like raspberry.
God, these pins are a bit sharp. Yeah.
That's almost as bad tasting as that apple thing I got the other day.
Oh,
and your BlackBerry.
Yeah. Why is it with fruits and manufacturers?
Crazy, folks. I also think it's neat that they're manufactured. I think there's a manufacturing plant in the UK for the Raspberry Pi as well.
Well, it's developed in the UK, wasn't it? It's developed in Cambridge.
Down in Cambridge, yeah. But originally, the original Model Bs were done in China.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Sent to a poor country. Well,
they wanted to do it in the UK, but apparently they was going to get too expensive.
Yeah.
And then they managed to find a factory that was willing to do it on the cheap. Yeah. Which is, I mean, that was kind of neat.
At the risk of how many workers' lives?
Yeah. I think they're really neat little bits of kit. Yeah. And some of the little, I mean, there's entire businesses that have sprung up from this little board. People that make cases and accessories, camera accessories. Maplin even have a kit that you can buy. Maplin being like our version of
Radio Shack.
Yeah, I guess. Where you can go in and buy all your little bits and bobs. Like
that's pretty cool.
You can literally go in and buy a Raspberry Pi kit that comes with mouse, keyboard, memory card, all ready to go. And you just go home, plug it in, and
I do know. I used to a couple of people in the past. They've said they've used them for if they want to do like a demo or something, like a spreadsheet presentation. They want to have like a big laptop round, and they'll just take the little Raspberry Pi and run it off that.
They don't have a lot of grunt, but I mean,
for a spreadsheet,
for a spreadsheet,
or even a PowerPoint's probably enough.
You know, it will run it, and it will be slow as hell, but it will run it. I mean, I was typing on the Google Doc today from the Pi, and it's only going to get better because the next version of the operating system's due out sometime soon with all the GPU acceleration.
What is it? A Linux-based operating
system? Yeah, Debian. So it's neat. There's loads of different distros out for it. I mean, there's people running like Apple OS 6, I think, and stuff like that.
I want to install SteamOS on it and see if it'll stream Steam.
That'd be kind of funny. That'd be interesting, I wonder.
Because SteamOS isn't quite that much of an overhead. That would be worth a try.
Have a look. Give it a go.
Nick will start compiling it Nick will start compiling tomorrow. Bam, off you go.
Yeah.
Just going to jump in and ask if we got any comments yet or anything.
No, apart from evening.
Oh, cool.
Evening.
Yeah.
Evening.
Evening.
Yeah, neat little piece of kit.
Evening, Governor.
Go
cool.
Get one.
Yeah, I might have to pick one up. Right. One of the things I've been looking forward to recently is something that I came across by chance, actually. There is a manga coming out of Heroic Legend of Arslan from the creator of Full Metal Alchemist.
All right.
So by manga, I mean the actual manga, like
the
book format. Yeah. This is interesting because when I was getting into anime years ago, when it was actually called manga, when it was manga video, back in sort of like the early 90s, one of my favourites was the Heroic Legend of Arslan. Unfortunately ran for 6 episodes, and half of those episodes different voice actors and names to the other half because another company took them over for legal reasons. They had to change all the
dub
names.
only went 6 episodes?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah, so the animation's all still the same, but the dub is different. Yeah,
okay.
Spot on. But it was a great anime. It's based on a Persian legend about this Prince Arslan, and he is born into nobility. Well, he's the prince, but it's because his father usurped his position. He usurped the throne from the past royal family in a civil war of some kind. Arslan's father is pretty brutal. He's a kind of a ruthless king. He's not a particularly nice chap. Arslan is quite contrasting. He's a really kind, compassionate young chap. And what ends up happening is, in this civil war, there's a guy called Silver Mask, and he is, it turns out, the son of the royal family that was killed. They were killed in a fire, and he escaped. So he's the last remaining member of this royal family. So he ends up capturing the king and wants Arslan dead. And obviously Arslan doesn't really get it, because Arslan, being quite a gentle character, doesn't want to fight this guy, just wants to sort of make peace with him. But Silver Mask is a little bit crazy. To him, so he's not having none of it. He wants Arslan dead, and the story basically travels with Arslan's travels and how he meets all these different people. He goes back to meet his father's strategist, a guy called Narcissus, and he ends up joining with Arslan against Silver Mask, and they gather together like a motley band of adventurers and an army, and the story just follows Arslan's rebellion against Silver Mask and the quests they go on. I was really gutted that it was only 6 episodes long, because I really enjoyed it and was hoping for more. It has some fantastic characters.
Was there an original? Was like the original Japanese?
It's a Persian legend. I don't think there's actually a Japanese manga of it. I'm not sure. Right. I'm gonna have to look this up. But the legend.
So I was curious because obviously if we had an anime of it,
yeah,
or whatever of it, then surely there should have been a Japanese version that maybe ran longer.
Yeah, I don't think the Japanese version did. I think it cut off after 6 episodes.
It died at the same time.
But yeah, there's the story's Persian. I'm not sure if there's a translation, an English translation of the actual legend, which is interesting, because then that means that the Japanese have got it from a different source. It might be worth looking into. But the manga looks interesting. I'm assuming, I don't really know much about it, but I'm assuming it's going to be pretty much the same as the anime, although the style is different, because the art style is all done by the guys behind Full Metal Alchemist. So if you followed that before, it looks similar. I haven't really watched much of Full Metal Alchemist or read much of it, but what I have seen of the anime, it's pretty good. So hopefully they'll do this sort of tale justice, and it'd be nice to see it again, because I don't know, I kind of have a bit of a soft spot for the old manga video stuff. There was good stuff came out back in those days. I mean, this is pre-anime becoming popular, really, isn't it? When it was
Especially
kind of,
over here,
it was a super geeky thing back then. If you liked anime, you were kind of shunned. But yeah,
if you wanted to watch that kind of stuff, you'd better get ready to travel to go and get it.
Funnily enough, though, a lot of the stuff back then was, well, the stuff now is a hell of a lot more tame compared to a lot of the stuff we got back then.
Oh yes.
Arslan was kind of tame though. It wasn't. It was PG rating, I think, compared to a lot of the other stuff, which was 15, 18. Arslan was pretty easy going. There's some violence.
In
stuff
fairness,
in
though,
it.
even the stuff that was rated PG was pretty dodgy in some places.
Yeah, Arslan really wasn't though. There was a bit of violence in it, but overall, it kind of plays out as a pretty traditional sort of fantasy legend and doesn't really step on too many toes in that regard.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. It looks like it might be good. So yeah, the first one is available to pre-order on Amazon. Apparently, you can get the second one with it for an extra couple of quid. So I think it's about £11. You can get both of them, so it's not too bad.
It's all right.
So it might be worth looking into. The other thing I'm looking forward to at the moment is something that I believe has actually just come out at the cinemas.
Yeah, they just had a premiere of it.
It is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which is the sequel to the prequel of Planet of the Apes, being Return of the Planet of the Apes, which came out about
Wasn't
4 or
it
5
Rise
years.
of the Planet?
I thought
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I was to say, wasn't there one? There was only one a couple of years ago that come out where they start the.
Yes,
That was
that's
Rise.
Rise.
And,
That's what it's the sequel to.
That must have, when you put it in there, I thought that's already out when I saw that.
No, this one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, is a sequel to that one.
It's a sequel to the prequel.
It follows.
Of the first film.
I won't go into too much for anyone who hasn't seen the first one, but the protagonist of the original Caesar of the first film, it follows him and his now evolving ape society. Humanity is kind of on the decline. There's a
killer flu out. There's a killer virus.
There's a killer virus out
wiping
that's
humanity.
killing humanity off, and sort of pockets of humanity are surviving.
Isn't it something like it kills like 7 out of every 10 people or something stupid like that?
Something like that, yeah. Caesar is kind of peaceful. He's not a warmonger. Even though he's still developing, he's obviously not quite onto the level of humanity yet, but he's getting there, and he can speak sort of simple terms and phrases, but he communicates with his people through sort of gestures. He seems to be sort of developing the society and trying to keep it peaceful. Gary Oldman's come into it as a new character, and he has a vendetta against the apes for some reason or other. I'm assuming it's probably still a family member being killed or something, but it's gonna come in some way. He seems like he's sympathetic, even though he's the bad guy. And there's a heroic character that ends up sort of teaming up with the apes, and it looks like there's going to be a battle between the apes and the humans. People trying to keep peace. Caesar generally wanting to keep peace, but inevitably having to go to war. It looks really good.
And I say I've actually seen some of the mocap for it. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's Andy Serkis again, isn't it? Playing Caesar, who is fantastic mocap. The guy behind Gollum.
He is an artist. He is a master.
He was King Kong as well, wasn't he? Yeah, he plays so many characters and plays animals brilliantly. Just gets well into his role.
It's so visual. Like I know that acting is a very good, but he's not even on the screen.
Yeah.
No,
it's all mocap for him, but you can feel.
But when they do their rehearsal, he actually goes in character in these rehearsals and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
He's a method actor, isn't he? He's been in games as well. He's in the company I don't really like, which is it's not Team Ninja, is it Ninja Theory? Ninja Theory. They made.
So you be careful about our team.
Yeah, Team Ninja's good. I like Team Ninja. Ninja Theory is the one I don't like, which is the guys that rebooted DMC and did a terrible job of it. But they had a game called, what was it called? It came out with the PlayStation 3. Heaven. I can't think of the title of it. But there's a character. Heavenly Swords. That's the one. He played the villain in that. Okay. And the villain was the only good thing about it.
I don't remember anything about it. It was kind of like God of War, wasn't it? But with
similar, yeah. But sort of Oriental, sort of inspired. Then they did a game called. It was based on Journey to the West. And I can't think of the title of it. Enslaved.
Oh yeah.
And it's just recently come out on Steam, I believe, as well. I hated it because Journey to the West is one of my favourite stories, and they butchered it basically and made some sort of pseudo cyberpunky futuristic version of it.
All I say is, good job.
That sucked, yeah. But Andy Serkis was in that as well, and he played the main character. So yeah, no, not knocking him there because he did a good job, but the actual game not so good. But yeah, I don't know. Rise of the Planet of the Apes was a good film, so I'm assuming this one will be good. I kind of like how it ties into the originals. The original films are also pretty epic.
So now I could be completely wrong in saying this, but these were originally radio plays, which were then rewritten as books.
No, they're books first.
No, they were radio plays first, and were rewritten and changed as they went along to be published as.
Because the guy who wrote the book was writing them on the basis he based on his experience actually as a Japanese prisoner of war.
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
I couldn't say. I always heard
that would make a lot of sense from the way the original plays out.
Yeah,
I'd always heard that they were radio plays, and as they were going, the books were being written.
I've always thought it was a book first.
We'll flashback.
We'll flashback it.
That.
But
they've had so many different versions.
Yeah, the only one he actually wrote was Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Nothing is the same, so every different version that's come out is completely different. So you've got like an audio version, you've got the written version, then you've got the first film, then you've got another film that came out.
Planet of the Apes is pretty close to the original book, but then all the others are just direct. They have nothing to do with it.
They go more into sort of fantasy territory
and sci-fi. Yeah. Well, they because this is a complete, not this is a prequel, it's actually a reboot of the series, because in the original set of films, and he actually comes back in time.
Yeah,
which starts the whole thing off. So Rise is actually not just a prequel, it's a reboot of the actual whole series.
So I'm guessing they'll change it so that Caesar is like a descendant of the original Caesar. I should expect that will probably be how it goes.
Yeah.
Like the original film is good, and so are actually the sequels aren't too bad as well.
I've never seen the first reboot. The last film that came out,
Rise of Planet of the Apes. I'll lend it to you. It's really good. Yeah.
I mean, I think we actually have it. I've just not had the chance
John
to watch
Lithgow in it, and he's brilliant in it.
If I had to be honest, I don't know actors and actresses by name.
John Lithgow's the dude from Third Rock from the Sun.
Is he? Let me guess. Is he playing a bad guy?
No.
Is he not?
He's a sympathetic character.
He's usually the bad guy in all these films.
No, he's an old guy suffering with Alzheimer's, and his son is working on the apes, and sort of he's kind of also compassionately working with the apes, so to say, with science to try and cure Alzheimer's. That's how the apes end up getting intelligent, because of this cure he's developing for Alzheimer's, because John Lithgow's character is suffering from it. That's where it all sort of kicks off, and something goes wrong, and that's where the virus comes in. Yada yada. Can't think of the name of the actor that plays his son. He's from Freaks and Geeks, if you ever remember that. James something, but he's a good actor. He's in quite a few other things as well. Quite a young actor. He was the Green Goblin in Spider-Man, the younger Green Goblin.
Oh, I know who you're talking
about. He's a pretty good actor. He plays the main character in it.
Isn't he the guy that was also in that film where he gets trapped in that canyon, cuts his arm off?
He might be. Yeah, I've never seen that, but could be him.
Was it not something like 40 hours or something like that?
Yeah. 70 something hours.
72 hours. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Based on a true story.
Yeah. That is pretty hardcore. Hats off to that guy.
The guy's still climbing mountain.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Very cool. But no, I'll have to lend you Rise. It's a good film. Very, very cool film.
Sorry if you could hear that. I'm being posh and having a cup of tea.
It's got Draco Malfoy in it as well.
Oh, bollocks.
Is it? Presumably not as Draco Malfoy.
No, but he's still...
That'd be really funny if it was.
He is a nasty character in it, though.
He has got... He's like an up-and-coming Alan Rickman, isn't he? He's never going to be able to play a good guy,
No, he's like that kid that plays... Jack Gleason, that plays the prince in Game of Thrones. Joffrey Lannister, or Baratheon even. Yeah, similar sort of character. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully go see it soon. But before you go see it, I'll definitely have to lend you Rise.
Neat.
So you can check it out. Excellent.
I'm curious to see actually how long it's going to take for that to come out on Netflix. Has the second Hobbit film come out on Netflix yet?
No, it hasn't.
Because I was curious because the first
one came out really
quick.
Have you seen the second one?
No.
You bought that too. I've got that as well. Okay. Game hardware and other news. Right, Smash Brothers character reveal trailer. Recently, as part of Nintendo Direct, they revealed 3 more characters for the upcoming Wii U game Smash Brothers.
Can I just say before we say who they are, a lot of people apparently were not very impressed by this one at all.
I'm not really, to be honest with you. I'm happy that Captain Falcon's back.
Mm-hmm.
He's the first one, obviously. It's a given he'd be in it anyway, as we were discussing earlier.
That's why I thought it was odd that he was kind of a reveal, because he's been in.
You have to admit, what I really like. Have you seen Sakurai's tweets?
No.
Or stuff that he's been putting on the. Have
we got a story mode back yet?
I have no idea. I'll have to look into that for you.
Give us a story mode.
Sakurai posted the picture of Captain Falcon in his vehicle from F-Zero. Said, Captain Falcon, what a shame you haven't had a new game yet. And it's kind of like, yeah, you're right. There needs to be another F-Zero. They're good games. It's kind of ironic for Sakurai to say that after he made a really good Kid Icarus reboot and then gone, I'm not making another one. So sort it out, Sakurai. Take a leaf out of your own book.
I'm not going to make another one because I'm too busy making the next F-Zero. You can't beat F-Zero, AX, and GX.
The character reveals are Captain Falcon and then Lucina and Robin from Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS.
I haven't played that yet.
No.
So I was a bit kind of...
I don't like it. I'm a big Fire Emblem fan. Fire Emblem 7 is my favourite and my introduction to the series.
Was that the Game Boy Advance one?
It was released as Fire Emblem over here, just Fire Emblem, and it came out for the Game Boy Advance. Really good game. Awakening, yeah, I won't go into it, but it's not as good. It's a good entry-level Fire Emblem, but then again, so is 7, because 7 has a really good tutorial mode, and 7 does everything better than Awakening does. I don't know, I just couldn't get along with it. There are a couple of characters I liked, but the overall story and the way the game played is not as good as the earlier titles.
So do you think that these are worthy entries into Smash Brothers roster?
No, I don't. So Robin, for example, definitely not, because he's the player character, and you edit the player character in Awakening. He's like your protagonist.
So is that why they said that there's a
male and a female? Yeah, you can play male Robin or female Robin.
I was a bit confused. I was like, where did that come from? How would that have worked in the story?
It just didn't. I don't think we needed 2 more Fire Emblem characters for a start, as much as I love the series.
Haven't you got
Marth and Ike are already in it. Roy's not in it anymore. It's Ike now from Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, I think it is. The one on the GameCube and the Wii. They're 2 of the better games in the series. Very good games. And Marth I'm fine with because he's the original protagonist from the very first game. And Ike is probably one of the better ones. I personally would have liked to have seen Hector if they were going to stick another protagonist in. He's the secondary protagonist of the same, but by far the best character, very well liked amongst fans, because the game follows a weapons triangle. Spears, axes, and swords. I can't remember for the life of me what beats what, but generally axes have a weakness and a strength. Not Hector's axe. Hector's axe dominates absolutely everything. He was a great character because of it. He's really hot-headed and... in comparison to Eli Wood, who was the other protagonist, and Indus, who was, because there were 3 for 7.
So, if we're going to say then you're not happy with there being these Fire Emblem characters, let's say we're not going to include Fire Emblem characters in this next list, who would you have rather they put in as from another franchise, be it a Nintendo franchise?
That's interesting. If I thought back, because I was coming from it purely from a Fire Emblem standpoint, so my thoughts was just like,
who would you want to see? Because a lot of people are like, well, why have we got this when you could have? I mean,
I'm not sure. There's stuff
Lucas.
Being teased though, isn't there? Like apparently Dark Pit has been teased because he comes up at the end of
the Palutena.
Yeah, and so they're thinking maybe he will be in. I mean, Lucina is basically Marth, but a female Marth. And in Awakening, you actually think she is Marth at the beginning. She comes back and enters the world wearing a mask and looks similar to Marth, but it's a chick that looks like Marth, and Marth looks like a chick anyway, so it's not really a big deal. But yeah, I thought that if you were going to have a character from Awakening, at least have 1, not 2. And I definitely wouldn't have had Robin. Lucina, just another Marth, so I didn't think it was really appropriate. I don't know. Thinking from another Nintendo game, I don't know who I'd want to see added.
Do you think they're kind of stretching it now with the...
I think that they're... I don't know. I like the fact that they're adding other icons. The fact that there's Pac-Man now and Mega Man and Sonic, even though I'm not a big fan of Sonic games.
Is Solid Snake still in it?
No, Solid Snake isn't in it anymore.
No?
No.
Oh, bummer.
But then again, I'm not really sure he fit the Smash feel anyway.
No, but I just thought it was neat to have it.
Yeah, I kind of like the little codec things you had in the last game. They were pretty cool. I'd like to see Waluigi come into it, to be honest, because you got Wario, but no Waluigi. And Waluigi gets left out of so many games that...
Fair, but do we need more kind of Mario and Luigi?
Yeah, maybe not. But then again, it is called Smash Brothers, so it's like...
Fair, but you've already got Mario, Luigi, Dr. Mario.
They didn't need Dr. Mario, really, did they? Just have one version of Mario and have the other Mario characters rather than... This is what I don't like. I don't like these half characters, Dr. Mario, Toon Link.
Kind of like Mario Kart 8 Pink Gold
yeah.
Peach.
And then, like, Lucina is just female Marth. It just seems pointless. Just when you can have a whole new character, why have these shadow characters that aren't really as good? But yeah, the bit itself was interesting. I think a lot of people are happy to see Captain Falcon back. But yeah, you're right. A lot of people are sort of in uproar about these two Fire Emblem characters. There's been mixed views, but these people are happy. I think Robin, people are kind of okay with, but Lucina, no one seems really interested in. There's better female protagonists from the Fire Emblem games. You could put Lindis in.
I had to be honest, because I hadn't played the new Fire Emblem game. I had no idea who the hell they were.
No.
I was like, who?
Well, Robin seemed pointless anyway because it's a character-created character. He doesn't have his own look. He's just whatever you make him or her, depending on who you are and what you want to play. But
so is there any system in place where people can ask for characters to go into it, or do they have they ever gone off and said, okay guys, who would you like to see in it?
I think they have, yeah, and they have
a vote.
They have had a vote at some point, I think, yeah.
I know they keep having vote for some of the Sega games. They have votes for characters they want to have in their kind of combo games like Sega and Sonic Race and games. They always have votes to say who would be the next DLC.
Yogscast bloke got into one, didn't it? And it was just like,
I ain't got a clue.
I didn't really understand that when you could have just put a Sega character in rather than some outside dude from something else. Like, you know, nothing against them, or that guy, but it just seemed like an odd choice for an extra character in a game. I'm going
to put a cheese sandwich in as a character.
I kind of lament these games though because they make me look at games that I'm never going to see again. Some of the characters in Smash Brothers, like now I know that there's not going to be another Kid Icarus, and all the big Kid Icarus stuff in Smash, and it's like, you're just making me want another Kid Icarus. Yeah. That Sonic racing game or Sega racing game, Vice from Skies of Arcadia is in it, and it's just like, no, we're never going to have another Skies of Arcadia.
Well, look at so we had that little out Earthbound before. A lot of people never knew who Ness and Lucas were until they played Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Until that little sod bag was in the game, and I was like, who the hell is that? And then you look it up. What the hell is Earthbound? And then they go and look it up and play it or whatever. That's the way a lot of these characters are. You're going to start finding games that you're going to find characters from games you're never going to see again. It's kind of depressing, you know. Seeing all these
it is good to see them all again. It's nice to see the characters again, but yeah, and especially with like Mega Man, we're never going to see another Mega Man, are we? No, Inafune's doing the sort of Mighty Number 9 thing, and was awful animation adaptation and all this other junk that they've added to it. And it's just like, no.
In fairness, if they cut down the entire Smash roster to Link, Pit, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Well, job done.
I have to admit, I like those two characters. I like Ike as well. Like, I think if you were going to have just one representative for Fire Emblem, he would have been a better choice than Marth, just because he's a more well-rounded character. And Marth is too Link-like, you know. I mean, Link's got that kind of.
I thought they had quite different playstyles.
But I mean, aesthetically, they're both kind of pretty boy, bishy looking characters, whereas Ike is like a big muscular dude, and that's kind of the opposite to Link, isn't it? So you got a bit of contrast there. Whereas if you got two characters,
in fairness, I think that, looks wise, sure, you'd need a bit of difference, but the playstyles, I didn't think that Marth
they don't play the same, no.
Because I play as Link pretty damn well, but I could not get on with Marth at all.
Yeah, I kind of like playing as Marth, to be honest, but now I think I'll probably, because I skipped the last. I did play a bit of it, but not enough to really give an opinion on the last Smash Brothers game.
That was on the Wii. Was that Melee? Brawl?
No, Brawl, yeah. But I'm going to think maybe given I could go on this one because I like the game he's from, and yeah, him, Pit and Link will probably be favourites of mine because they go down that fantasy route that I tend to like anyway, so yeah. There are characters that are going to be coming out though, so we've just got to wait and see. Really, is there anyone you particularly want to see?
I've already got pretty much all the characters I want.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think they're kind of crowding the roster a bit. You know, because we've got like all the Pokemon.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You don't need all them Pokemon. I mean, just have a trainer that can summon Pokemon as his moves. That's all you need. That's it.
Rather than a Pokemon trainer that has 3 Pokemon and then giving us 6
I don't think we need more than 1 or 2 characters from a game unless it's something like Mario. I can see there being more Mario characters, but if you've got like Fire Emblem and then Pokemon and whatever other game you can have coming out. So you need 2 characters to represent it. That's it. You don't need any more than that, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Zelda's a bit different because it is a pretty much niche Nintendo title, isn't it? Well, not niche even, I should say. It's pretty much.
You've got Link, you've got Zelda, and you normally have
Ganondorf. Yeah, he hasn't been shown yet, so we're waiting to see if he'll be in it.
In fairness, he's just a palette swap of Falcons.
Yeah, they need to give him his own moves. It'd be more interesting if he had his own moves.
I thought it was neat as a palette swap of Captain Falcon because he hits harder than Captain Falcon. So,
yeah,
and he's got a much shorter range.
Yeah, but I mean, the dude's like a wizard warrior mix. They could make him really interesting, and like with his whole, I like his cultural thing because he's not Hylian, is he? They're Gerudos, and of which he's the only male in his tribe. And so there's like all the whole cultural thing they could have added to his character that would have made it more interesting, I think. Would have been nice to have seen, but there you go. It is what it is. Yeah, so I don't know. Mixed reactions on this current Smash Bros. Character reveal.
Are we going to have a character reveal every Nintendo Direct or whatever? Because I mean, the game is so close to being launched now.
I've no idea. I think there's only maybe 1 to 2 more character reveals waiting to be had. But yeah, I mean, there's characters that are chatting in a minute that I'm just the villager from Animal Crossing. A lot of people are going mad about that one and going, "Oh, it's great," and I was like,
"It's like when they put the Wii Fit."
Yeah, and then the Mii's and stuff, and I'm just like,
I don't mind the Mii's. I think they're kind of neat, but
it's just like trying to. We need to put something different in. Let's just chuck that in because that's different. No, I've heard that before.
I mean, it should be the interesting characters, shouldn't it?
It's Smash Brothers that I'm going to let Nintendo get away with those little amiibo figures that you can level up by putting them on the NFC.
How do they even work? I saw that.
They've got an NFC chip.
I initially thought it was just the Skylanders rip-off and was like, oh, that's no. But then someone said to me, no, it isn't. So I was like, how?
So basically, they've got a little chip in because the gamepad has an NFC reader on it. That's what that little square is in the bottom corner of the gamepad that doesn't get used other than for Pokemon. You can do the same thing with Amiibo as you can with these little Pokemon things. You get a Pokemon character, you put it in, that gets transferred into the game. You play, you level it up. That data gets transferred back to your little chip.
Oh, that's cool.
You can then go and take that to your mate's house, plonk it down on his gamepad or whatever.
So it's not like Skylanders then. It's not just DLC on a character. It's more like a.
Well, Skylanders does pretty much the same thing, where you've got your little chip and it will read, and you can transfer the data level up and then take it around your mate's.
Right.
It's your own kind of personal version of the character. The Amiibo is going to be kind of the same thing. The way that I understand it, anyway, is that you'll be able to play that character in Smash, level it up, and then you will have your own kind of personal.
Somebody made a brilliant mock-up of it. The first thing I saw is somebody made one of Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I'm just like, that's excellent. Let's have Dio invading every Nintendo game ever. Would be amazing.
And they're going to have that Amiibo. They're going to have a reader for the 3DS as well, so it's going to be cross-platform.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Kind of neat.
I mean, I'm looking back into the 3DS at the moment because I was so disgusted with Awakening because I bought the Fire Emblem 3DS. I sold the thing and don't regret it as much because I preferred my Vita at the time, like the fact that I had Grand Crown and that was tied me over fine. I kind of missed Kid Icarus. But yeah, if they keep bringing stuff out, I'm going to gun for the Wii U first, so that'll be the next thing on my list, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely got some good
games. Of the next-gen consoles, that'll be the one I pick up.
It's probably the only one I'm going to pick up.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Cool.
Perfect.
Marvellous.
So moving on to Flashback. Luke, we discussed in the last podcast, you were talking about Portal 2, the expansion.
Oh, Postal 2.
Postal 2, that's the one, not Portal 2.
Portal 2?
Yeah, Postal 2, the expansion. It's called Paradise Lost. It's been released in the autumn.
Oh, so it's not out yet. No.
That is interesting that they're expanding on a game that old.
11 years old. I was looking up, but I looked up on Steam. It's only like $174 full price on Steam.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They practically give it away now. I mean, they've made their money out of it. They've released soundtracks, they've released movies and stuff like that based on the Postal franchise. I think it's a hilarious series.
I've not played well, mind you, I've not played either of them. I've seen other people play Postal 2. But I've not played Postal 1 or seen anyone play it. And it's a different game, isn't it, to Postal 2?
They're all very different, aren't they?
So, Postal 1 is an isometric shooter.
Yeah.
The idea is that you're basically getting evicted from your house and you go on a bit of a rampage. And they can't be sure if Postal Dude is either possessed or just going a bit nuts. Because there's two diaries. There's one in the manual, which seems to be written by him.
Right.
And then there's the one that plays on the cutscenes of the game that says he has to cleanse the world, and he ends up basically going to a military base to wipe everyone out.
Right.
You can't really be too sure if he's like completely flipped out, or you have to try and you build the story up by reading these diary entries, and the idea is that there are innocents and roses and all that all over these little maps, and then you have to defeat like 72%. You don't when you kill everyone, the level doesn't finish. It's up to you to actually press a button to move on. So you could only take out the handful of people it asks you to take out, or just wipe out everyone.
Interesting.
And then
wasn't Postal the first game that actually got properly banned in some places?
Wasn't it Grand Theft Auto first and then Postal?
I think it was Harvester, wasn't it? Did Harvester come before?
Harvester. I've played Harvester. That's a weird game.
It's on Steam now.
Is it? I'm
Steam.
tempted to pick it up actually, because it's a weird little game.
It's a very odd game.
Okay.
Point and click murder simulator.
Yeah, and that's the probably shouldn't reveal the big twist of the game. The big ending.
We won't reveal
the
twist
twist of the game. But that is quite a horrific game. But I didn't know if it got. I can't remember if it ever getting actually banned though.
I think it did. I'm not certain though.
I know.
Not 100%.
I thought Postal. I remember the bit that was the real. I think one of the very first big hoo-has was Postal. One of the early ones.
Early ones. Mortal Kombat. If we're gonna get back that far.
In fairness, games get banned, and like you'll say, each and every game kind of gets banned somewhere.
Yeah.
Like Australia.
I'm talking about more sort of from our point of view. I'm sure at some point it's the one that sort of famously got. We heard about it being banned. It's quite sort of in the news quite a lot. A bit like Manhunt 2 got on the news a lot about that being banned.
I think they pulled it off shelves for about 20 minutes, and then they were like,
banned the A-Team on the Ataris. Basically, Mr. T's head is Pac-Man. Suggesting Mr. T's a drug addict. That's awful. Get rid of it.
Well, Manhunt 1 got temporary pull for shot from some places.
Oh yeah.
But I do remember there was some independent. That's when there was all that hoo-ha about whether he's played by someone who went to kill somebody.
Do you remember the big thing about Zelda Ocarina of Time? Let's take all the Islamic references and stuff out of it, because the Gerudo are based around that same sort of culture. The mirror shield has the symbol for Islam, or an Islamic symbol on it, doesn't it? And
the crescent
there
moon
was
type thing.
The crescent moon, yeah, and the star, and then you had chants, Islamic chants, in one of the Gerudo temples. You can still get versions of the game that have them on, but later they tried to recall them and obviously get rid of them, but people have bought it by that point.
Yeah. I remember there was a shot when all the big mainstream publishers to like Game Station before they went bust, and all like the supermarkets took Manhunt off the shelves. There was an independent shop who actually put a sign saying, "We sell Manhunt."
I remember.
Yeah, didn't Budget do that at one point?
Probably.
We sell Manhunt. And people just
flocked to us. I think I actually
had
it before it had already been.
I love Budget.
I had before went
Budget.
Ban. I had it. I've got it both PS2 and PC. Actually.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
I never really liked it.
It wasn't actually that good. It wasn't actually that good a game.
Basically, 10-2 stealth assassins were plastic bags.
It's a real kill band, well, didn't it?
Released.
We had the beta of it, didn't we?
Yeah. I love that game. Beating people to death. That's a
random game, wasn't
it?
You play as a tiny little midget gimp on like shield.
Yeah. I was saying Manhunt anyways. Manhunt 2 was when it actually got banned before it even got released, but then got unbanned a few weeks later.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Banning of games, all great fun.
I think that the people were way too soft back then. They
never played the mini games. Some of those are mini games, man.
Going on now though than in games compared to what was going on back then. Way more graphic now than it was back then.
Films are far worse.
Have you played any of the older classic Amiga games? Some of them are well violent, man. Like that one I was showing you before. The heck's a game called Waxworks. That's a wickedly violent game, that is.
Yeah, but I suppose that perhaps it wasn't quite so. Games was still in some ways a little bit niche. There weren't a lot of people really. They hadn't quite got the level of penetration when people were becoming actually aware of them so much.
Yeah.
But then that's what Grand Theft Auto when the games start getting aware, and that's when you get all of the Jack Thompsons kicking off people, the kids.
That dude so much.
Yeah.
Slapped him just for being
disbarred. It was a git as well because he promised he was going to give money to charity. He never did.
Yeah, wasn't that for if someone made a style mod?
He wrote a synopsis for a game that he wanted to have made. And it was about this guy I think it's his son gets murdered by somebody who copied a video game, and so he goes on a mass murder page killing all the developers, and about 4 or 5 people made it. And then
so
he refused
basically, He's fighting against the very thing making the very thing.
No,
right?
it was a tongue-in-cheek bit saying, I know you.
If you do it, I'll hand up some
money. It was called a modest game proposal based on that Irish one that I was playing with called a modern proposal, which is about cannibalism.
Yeah.
Modern game proposal, and he basically the idea was that you won't bother, you won't dare do this, and those people called his bluff and did.
And he still didn't.
Penny
Arcade.
Yeah, Penny Arcade did a list on the thing saying we've paying this money to this charity because Jack Thompson wrote, and he sued them. He sued them for giving money away.
What a dick.
He was crazy, man. He's been disbarred now anyway.
Good job.
Right.
See, games don't make people want to kill people. Dickheads like that make people want to kill people.
Games don't
you
kill
act
people.
like that, God.
Games don't kill people. Players kill people. Right. Weird news.
Our favourite part.
Yeah, that's the only that's a chapter mark I put in on the podcast now. Is weird news. That's all I want.
Yeah, it's the only stuff people actually watch. Just ignore the rest of it.
The ramblings and the rantings of our games and stuff.
Yeah, no one cares about that.
No one gives a damn about what we do. They just want to hear about the daft stuff that happens around the planet.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty of daft stuff. Well, sure, now we're doing it bi-weekly. I'm finding it harder and harder to find stuff I actually believe might be true.
Just sit on B-boards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of it won't be true. That's the trouble.
Oh, no, man, that's still crazy.
It's not weird news, then, is it? It's not news.
Get yourself on
weird
Lively,
falses.
watch some dodgy videos, you'll see it all.
Yes. Right. Either you arachnophobic?
No.
Oh, I am.
That went well.
Okay, if you would say you find a spider in your room, in your kitchen or wherever, and you wanted to get rid of it, what would your prepared method
I know
of
precisely where you're going with this one. I've read the story
myself. Right, Luke, what was your prepared method of dealing with a spider if you found it in your kitchen, say?
Depending on the size, either pick it straight up and take it outside, or glass and paper.
Okay, but you'd humanely just deal with it.
Yeah.
Would you try and do a homemade flamethrower using a spray paint and lighter?
No, I do that kind of stuff to deal with people that knock on my door, though.
Yes. Well, a man in Seattle tried this and promptly burnt his house down.
I saw that one coming.
Yeah.
Idiot.
He did it in his laundry room, which is probably not the best place to do it. And the best place, called 35,000 rounds worth of damage. As it was a rental home. He's now him and his other person, wife, somebody. Doesn't say.
Please don't say children.
It doesn't say just two people who live in the house. It doesn't say who they are.
That breed.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're now being given temporary shelter by the Red Cross.
And they never found the body of the spider.
No.
Well, that went well.
It's still out there, yeah.
That dude's probably sitting there freaking out.
Yeah. He's got all these horror sort of dreams of this spider walking over a spray can and a lighter looking at him.
He's just going to have all these like nightmares now of houses burning down full of spiders.
It was a fire spider, that's what it is. It's like, you've only made me stronger, human.
That would be insane. That's got
to be he was a spider daedra. That's what he was.
Oh my god.
Fire makes me stronger, human.
Stupid people of the world.
We've all lost stuff. I'm sure we've lost stuff, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to set up for the podcast. I have no idea where anything is.
No. I actually had a friend of mine lose his pad. He put on his car roof and then he drove off. And he can't find it. Strangely enough. So he's lost his iPad. Well, sometimes have you ever lost something like out at public and had it returned?
Maybe once.
Well, yourself?
In fairness, most stuff I lose is worth a lot of money, so most people wouldn't bring it back.
Well, an American farmer who lost his smartphone has had it returned from Japan. He was unloading grain, and they have these big grain silos, and they literally have like an auger thing, literally fill up the grain. Japan will come. You'll see where Japan comes into it. That's what we're thinking.
God, I just got mind blown. Okay.
Yeah. So he's got this grain silo. They have like a look fair, but it's huge vats of grain, and he dropped his phone in it.
Oh right. Okay.
Okay. So he thought, not going to bother. I'm not going to be able to find it. Lost. So in fact, the next day he went and bought a new one. Well, 8 months later, it turns back up. So the phone basically, it left this is in Oklahoma, went to another Oklahoma grain facility, then it went down the Arkansas and Mississippi rivers to Louisiana. From there, it was loaded onto a ship which went to a Japanese port. From there, it went to a feed company, and doing the feed process, they found the phone. And the person in Japan found it, sent it back to the supplier, and the supplier charged it and looked at the photos and to identify who it was. It's quite lucky.
Bastards.
Yeah, it's very well. Japanese are nice people, aren't they? So they are.
I'm gonna say, what the hell?
Make the best video games.
Yeah. So they said.
Fish.
Yeah, they said it knew his phone. They said he probably wanted
I wouldn't
back.
even grace him with speaking to him.
Yeah. Apparently, the chap who runs the facility where they run the place where they sort the grain, he comes on average one a month. People losing their phones.
Interesting.
Into grain.
Stop carrying your phones when you're dealing with this shit.
Well, I have to admit, I nearly lost my iPhone the other day. I dropped into a pig pen.
You fool!
I was sat there.
Who sat there thinking to himself, "Do I dive in
well
and
have
save it?"
I did dive in and save it. Don't you
well
worry.
I
did not. I literally was like, phone in pig pen, climb over. I didn't even know the gate. I just climbed over it.
He didn't even touch the fence, man. He flew over.
I did. I flew right over, jumped right in there. There's a builder walked past, said, "Rather you than me, mate." And I said, "I need my phone back."
He went crackdown style. He didn't even touch the floor on the other side. He was like, whoa.
Grabbed that phone before the pigs got hold of it. Oh, that been just wrong. I don't try to get I'll claim the insurance on that one.
He'd have pulled out the. Could you imagine filling out that little tiny box?
Yeah. So, well, this is going to take a lot of explaining how I lost my phone in pig shit, or was eaten by a pig. I've just got a vision of me being able to ring the pig. I could just go in there, just find out which pig it was.
And just plant the shotgun, right? That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Bacon.
You're mine now.
I'm not even going to eat you. I'm just going to shoot you lots.
I'm going to feed you to my enemies.
The other pigs.
Yes. On to sex news.
Okay.
Yeah. A Russian businessman has been forced to call emergency services after he had sex with his ballerina wife and damaged his back.
All right.
He's suffering severe back pains after having sex with someone who's a bit more contortionist than he is.
Right.
Yeah, supposedly. This is it is from Russia, and given Russia's PR department at the moment and what they're saying at the moment, I'm not sure how much I believe this. But I was on there, I thought, oh well, who cares?
It's not like other places where they've found unicorns, played the perfect game of golf.
No, that's not
World Cup.
No.
Every year.
Every year. And all the gold medals in the Olympics.
Every time there's a World Cup, even.
Yeah.
Shows how much we know about football.
Buddy Holly and Road Warrior Hawk live out in that little house in my back garden, but no one can prove me wrong because no one will come around here and check.
They might do.
No, because I'll just say they're out.
Fair enough.
But the ghost of Yokozuna's there, so you're all right.
Yeah.
So
ghost living.
No, Yokozuna's dead, mate.
No, living.
He's dead.
No, he isn't. Andre the Giant's out there as well.
He's a ghost. Ironically, through a spider.
Elvis is out there as well. Recording a new album, by the way. Pretty good.
The businessman in question was actually the reason they were having sex was they were celebrating his recovery from a serious illness. This is bad luck. And he said afterwards the pain was so bad from his back they called an ambulance out twice, but the medication they gave him didn't help. He's currently confined to a bed.
Well, that'll be fun for his wife. Maybe.
Yeah. Possibly. She's out having a whale of a time, so people can actually move. He's only 45 as well. I mean, he's not particularly old. If he's like geriatric, I could understand it. She probably snapped him in half if he's geriatric.
What a pussy.
We've both established that you two like metal.
Yes.
Metal. Well, it turns out that you can't. You've been a bit of headbanging at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Careful. Because someone's been hospitalised after he gets up a chronic duodenal hematoma in his brain after headbanging too much.
That dude's soft.
Yeah. It was at a Motorhead conference.
Conference. Lemmy's up on the stage with the mic.
Opening all conference.
Pull it like he's got his suit on and his shirt and he's got his whole.
I'm just imagining Lemmy and Lloyd Kaufman there discussing the old trauma and Motorhead's future.
Now we're going to move on to PowerPoint presentation number 3, please. Apparently, the neurosurgeons have said it proves that Motorhead are one of the most hardcore rock and roll acts on the earth. This is a neurosurgeon who said this.
They were the loudest band on earth at one point, weren't they?
There have been a few cases like this in the past. The incident may be hard because symptoms of type range are often clinically silent or cause only a mild headache that resolves spontaneously.
This explains a lot.
Yeah. So if any of you have a headache, you've probably like.
I have headaches quite often, and I used to headbang a hell of a lot.
There you go. That's probably where you're. That's probably what's getting. You've got chronic sotinohematoma.
That's right. That's a good way to go.
Good job.
Yeah. So he underwent keyhole surgery to drain the bleeding and was discharged after 8 days.
I'm sorry, mate, but for a headbanger, you soft. I've known people who have gotten their ribs broken in soulfly pits, and I thought they were pretty damn soft. Because then when I said, "Hey, do you want to come to a napalm death pit?" They were like, "No way, man! I got my ribs broken at a soulfly pit." And I was like, "What kind of a pussy are you?" It's like saying you're going to get your ribs broken at a Hawkwind concert.
Could happen.
Right, Luke, you've got kids, as we all know, because they've had the podcast once nearly.
Yeah. They just appear, you know, children.
They do. Two people come together and children appear.
Exactly, they're spawned.
Just made me think of the League of Gentlemen. There's kids that just appear in the back of every scene.
Evil kids.
Twins.
Yeah. Obviously, you want to make them happy, and you do lots of form. How far would you go to make them happy?
Are we saying, am I likely to murder someone to make my children happy? Is that where you're trying to push?
No, I'm not quite.
Get me to confess to all the people buried under my patio. Don't check under my patio. If there is someone there, I've got nothing to do with
it. Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah. Skaz is west over here. No. Would you go as far going to a different country in order to find a piece of unused land and claiming it for yourself, for your child?
Sure, why not?
Fair enough. So you'll be very in home with Jeremiah Heaton from Virginia, who claimed a piece of land between Egypt and Sudan in order to make his 7-year-old daughter a princess.
That's actually kind of
okay. Sweet. It is kind of sweet. This is weird news can be quite sweet. Don't worry, we've got some.
What's wrong with it?
It's all right. We have got some masturbation news coming up. Don't worry.
There's got to be some sort of depths to pull out somewhere.
There have been several attempts to claim the land online. Well, I don't know how they've been claiming online. That's mine.
Let's see that.
I'm a pharaoh.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Unless you go over there with a flag.
Yeah. Well, this is what he did. He feels he stands the most chance of success. He actually travelled to the area in June and planted the flag in the ground, which features his family crest signed by his 3 children. So the royal family is Princess Emily, Prince Justin, and Caleb, I think.
The dude has a family crest, and he comes from where? Virginia.
Virginia.
Bollocks.
He's hoping to turn into an agricultural hub for the area. He now just needs to get Sudan and Egypt to recognise the Kingdom of North Sudan, which is what he's calling it. Apparently, some experts said that he's unlikely to get his claim recognised.
I'm just going to put a flag.
Just making me think of Peter.
Well, it says in here, it is not plausible for someone to plant a flag and say a political control of a land without legal recognition from neighbouring countries and the United Nations or other groups.
Moon landing comes to mind there.
Look at Buckingham Palace and plant a flag.
Yeah, but this is very much you can tell. Well, he's obviously following traditional colonial, particularly British Empire colonial tradition of you go somewhere, you plant a flag.
Yeah, you and you. Fuck off.
Yeah. So this is our land, the land of the greatness, joy. It's our new land. Who are these people?
Yeah, you lot.
Yeah. Just so you know, guys, this is ours now. Cheers.
All right, then.
Oh yeah, dude.
About,
okay.
A couple hundred years later, what the fuck we live
here? And here's some blankets while you're at it.
Wrong with them.
Yeah. It's apparently to see if this land is actually owned by somebody else. Possibly, Egypt or Sudan.
Possibly, no one seems to actually know this. There's just some.
Well, I wonder actually about this because there is I remember seeing on some QI there was a piece of land between Egypt and Sudan which neither of them want to lay claim to on the basis that it might weaken another claim elsewhere. So it's been a limbo between the two. It's a convoluted story. It's a complex story. Why? It's not as cursed, but they feel that if they lay claim to it, they'll somehow weaken their claim. They've got there's one bit which is disputed between the two of them, but there's this bit which isn't disputed, but neither of them want to claim it.
Just in case.
Yeah.
You never know.
Apparently, Emily now wears a crown wherever she goes, and they've already got letterhead on all.
See, now you might say that's sweet, but it sounds utterly disgusting to me. Wretched people.
It's sweet that he's given his princess is now his princess, but she should have always been his princess.
He did need to go to a different country to lay claim his land.
It's just a little bit kind of. If you'd have said to me, "Yep, he actually had some grounds in making this claim," good job, son. Otherwise, you sound like a bit of an idiot.
But that means his child's lording it over all the other children. Ugh.
That's right.
Horrible
But
people.
that's all right, because someone else will then try and make claim to
Usurp.
it, and then there will be, there'll be a mini.
I'm waiting for what I hope is that. Well, I don't hope this necessarily. This is a bit. I hope this. Perhaps at some point in the future. Perhaps at some point in the future, you know, Prince Justin and Salib may go dressed up their Princess Emily, and there might be a civil war happen.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
And then Axl Rose will sing about it.
Yeah.
And no one will care.
This will be This will be the new Game of Thrones.
Well, the patch of land's probably like a foot square.
Just chucking like stuff at each other. Get off my land!
They're from Norfolk, this lot. Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh god.
So, moving on to melon news. A 49-year-old Connecticut man is facing threatening charges after a woman told police he had stabbed a watermelon in a passive-aggressive manner.
What?
Okay, so she basically came home. She found some drugs. She takes the drugs back to the police. Says, "I found these in my husband's toolbox." She comes home, finds a watermelon with a knife in it. Okay, the husband then comes in and proceeds to cut up the watermelon. She's gone back and said it was a threatening move, and the police have arrested him. There you go. Yeah, I can't see logic either. He's been released on a £500 bail. This is America. I'll just point out. Not that you need to. $500 bail.
You cut watermelon.
Vegetable rights and peace.
You cut it. You eat it. Now that's threatening.
Yeah, apparently it was passive aggressive and menacing. Cutting up this watermelon.
Jesus.
So I love the fact this website decided to call. They said no response to a phone call Tuesday morning at their Carvillo home seeking comments. Well, why do you bother ringing them? So, moving on to the promised masturbation news.
You didn't say anything.
See, now, as soon as you mentioned melons, I thought that was where we were going.
No. This is technically masturbation. That's a bit overexaggerated. That's a bit of exaggeration. We're back in Virginia again. A Virginia teenager has been accused of sexting a visitor to his girlfriend. Is facing a search warrant where prosecutors want to take a photo of his erect penis. They want to take him to hospital, give him an injection to make him erect, and then take photos of it so they can compare it to the one in the video. He's 17. At one point, he's 17 years old at this point. Okay. It's apparently this child is.
I think that sounds more pervy. We're going to take you away and inject you to give you an erection. It's like...
I must admit, I thought this. He's the case angered the boy's family, strangely enough, and illegal observers. I love the phrase outside legal. So there's these people who just observe illegally outside.
So this is coming about because it's an underage thing, right?
He was sending pictures to his girlfriend, who's 15 years old. But
in fairness, 17 is still underage in the States anyway.
It is. Well, this is where it gets not amusing. He's been charged with 2 charges of possessing child pornography and manufacturing child pornography of his own penis. Because
because he's
underage. He's possessing child pornography of himself.
Yeah, he's sending out. Oh, dodgy.
And he's manufactured himself. So
what a dodgy loophole there. You are screwed, right?
Yeah.
History abhors a paradox. Oh dear.
Yeah. Apparently his defence saying is slam the warrant. I don't know if that's a euphemism. Slamming the warrant. Prosecutor just apparently, which I'm sure it is. Taking down the hospital so he can get an erection in front of all the cops. Of them. Yeah, so yeah, there was meant to be just a doctor originally, but they've all said, "Oh, we'll come along as well." That's traumatizing.
We'll check this.
I think it may require many of us to check this out, including Dodgy Dave from the child pornography section. He's really interested in coming out.
How many bouts of Rule 34 boxes is this ticking, man? It's wrong.
Only in America.
Yeah.
America's got some really dodgy state-by-state laws.
That is a bizarre one, yeah. Advocates of the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children warned of the danger of not only sexting, that's a danger to sexting apparently, but also of overreacting to sexting, which I think you could class as.
Charged. The danger of sexting being you're going to get felt up by a doctor and observed by police.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I'll learn not to do that one.
Yeah, that's a warning. Yeah.
That'll teach you never do that one again.
Yeah.
It's just weird though, because I don't know how this works in the States, but I can remember watching this random thing on Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
They're wicked.
Penn and Teller's bullshit, and they had this thing about I think it was like teenage sex or whatever, and they start asking a group of the people they're working with, like, when did you first have sex? And they're like, 15, 17, whatever, and all these people are underage in the States, and later on, they get a bunch of couples together, and they say, right, well, you guys can legally have sex here or some form of whatever here, but if you were to go back to, say, her home state, you'd be nicked, should be nicked, you're stuffed. Go to Las Vegas, fine. If you go over to this place, you guys could even go and get married.
Yeah.
But it's America, you screwed.
There is I remember hearing it's not just America, I remember hearing a reading about an issue in Ireland. They had an issue in Ireland a few years ago where if people under the age of 8, I think it's 16 because in Ireland it's age of consent, 2 people under the age of 16 won't have sex and went through with it, that was technically. But if they tried to but failed or couldn't go through with it, that was actually illegal. So as one comedian put it, it said, talk about pressure on your first night. Yeah. You might, if you don't succeed, you'll break the law. I don't know how true that was. I'm not.
That means there's like an extra law for if they actually turn out to be impotent. Then I guess.
In fairness, that there are some really stupid bloody laws.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
There's sort of hangover laws. Unfortunately, a lot of them have actually been sort of successfully revealed and destroyed and got rid of. They're just
future CSI episodes are going to be good. We're going to go observe this bloke getting an erection in the doctor's.
With a zoom in shot of it, presumably. That's sort of very close. Yeah.
Who's got the 70 or 200 telephoto?
Yeah. Why have you all turned up with cameras? Just to get plenty of evidence.
The mystery
just to
of
get plenty of
penis.
Yeah.
A Sherlock Holmes tale.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Finally, a giant yellow rubber duck floating on the Nanning River in China has been swept away by floodwaters. Have you seen this?
Sad news indeed.
Have you seen this giant rubber duck?
No. Why is this a big deal?
Okay, it's a 18-meter tall rubber duck created by a sculpture.
It's been there for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's had a lot of problems by a Dutch artist. I'm not going to try and pronounce the first name, but surname's Hofman.
Right.
He's done it as a way of unifying the world through the medium of rubber ducks. Okay. Right. Yeah. So it's actually
the duck.
To be fair, when you see it, it is actually quite a realistic reproduction. It is actually quite odd to see.
I'm just imagining a massive.
It's just a giant cult.
Duck.
It is. That's exactly what it is. It's an 18-meter tall rubber duck, exactly like you see in the bath.
I think it was on Channel 4 at the intervals for shows. They used to show it quite a lot.
Yeah. I can't believe this. I'm going to look that up as soon as the show's over. I'm looking that up.
That is. Honestly, it's just a giant rubber duck.
It was on an advert for something as well a couple of years back.
Apparently disappeared at 7 o'clock on Wednesday.
So after the mystery of the flaccid penis, we've got the mystery of the giant disappearing rubber duck.
Well, yeah. It weighs a ton by itself. And it was sitting on a 10-ton metal platform with steel wires. How it was dislodged by the storm, and according to the event coordinator, Jackson, it disappeared right in front of me. So it's a magical duck.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't the first problem it's had.
Maybe it should unify the world. We should be worshipping the duck.
This thing can move on its own.
This isn't the first. It's already burst once in Taiwan. 11 days after it got put up. And it was deflated as a result of a 6.3 factor earthquake when it lost power.
But it survived the earthquake.
It survived the earthquake. It survived to live again. And yeah, it's just sort of floating up, just sort of making everybody happy.
Now it's just wandered off and everyone's like, oh!
The rubber duck's disappeared. Has got an entrance in the rear for access.
That sounds so wrong. But I am curious if that's going to somehow, drift off and meet up with that ferry of rats.
Well, it's interesting. I was reading about the other day. There was an accident on a Japanese shipping trawler because the big problem they can't really map like ocean currents. They can't see where they're they can only guess through satellites and stuff. It's hard to map them. But there was an accident on this a Chinese transport ship. They lost a whole container of rubber ducks, about 2 million of them. But the thing about it was, because they lost them and they also got caught in the currents, they could see where the ducks appeared. They could work out the currents, and so they're able to work out a map currents of the sea more accurate than they've ever done before by rubber ducks.
That's what we're going to start doing. I was like, right, got great rubber ducks over.
And you thought the Beckles duck race was just a load of rubbish. It's actually trials.
Ridiculous. This is now science.
That was written in the giant rubber duck's future. The rubber duck.
It's going to go out there. It's going to herd the others. It's going to lead them to take over the world.
So does this now mean that every time you now see a rubber duck floating down Lowestoft seafront, we're going to leg it out there, grab it, and start worshipping it?
Yes.
We're going to become members of this cult. They're going to be like rubber ducks.
Everybody.
All hail the inflated one. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Linford.
Getting a bit friendly there. Right?
All hail the inflated one.
How are you, Linford? How are you?
Now, there's no information, because you know some rubber ducks squeak when you squeeze them. There's no information where this one squeaks when you squeeze them.
You've just gone and said it's got rear access. So this is an incredibly funky rubber duck.
Yeah. It's got rear access, so they can do inspections of it.
If that squeaks with rear access, that's a bit of a problem.
No, shall it be whack? Because it's so big.
Could you imagine that's going to sound like this evil roar?
Whack,
whack. Little ducks are coming out of it. It's like on a conveyor. Like, shit.
I've just now got, for some reason, I've just got a vision of some really sort of early PS1 sort of end of level boss, this giant duck, which just shoots out lots of little ducks at you as you fight it.
I can see that in a few games.
Yeah.
Makes me think of a really dodgy shmup. We get this little spaceship, and all of a sudden this ginormous rubber duck just starts firing.
That's very parodious sounding.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Good stuff.
Well,
good game.
We've actually come to the end.
What time have we done it in?
1 hour 40.
Oh, look at that.
Look how happy Luke is now.
Time to have another cup of tea.
We slipped up a couple of times and used our real names, although we're getting used to using the monikers. So
yeah. We need to probably start our name badges. Hello, my name is.
Just like, there you go.
Well, thank you very much for watching. If you can find us in the usual places, YouTube, which you're watching, Round Nerds. If you're not watching YouTube, Google, Round Nerds, plus something.
Not in the show notes.
I've thrown them down there. I can't remember half it. Facebook, Round Nerds.
I was going to say, what's this?
I'm trying to remember which one it is.
One is just Round Nerd, isn't it?
No, that's Gmail. No, that's the old Gmail address.
The old Google face.
Roundnerds.com is the website. If you want emails, it's comments@roundnerds.com.
We are yet to get a single email.
We've got plenty of spam.
Yeah,
what more do you want?
Yeah, but I always get the spam. I'm always the one filtering through the damn stuff.
I filter all the comments on the blog. I keep going through there. People keep saying, "Oh, I love your website. Here's some stuff about search engine optimization." Everybody's on and on about search engine optimization. It's like,
loving the Linford tonight.
Yeah, so I don't need to do it. WordPress does it.
I don't know. We've clearly got plenty of Nigerian princes as fans.
We have. Yeah. We're very big in that country.
Well, apparently we've got some dodgy princes and princesses trying to make claims to places that don't exist either. So
they exist. It's just not so you can make a claim to them yet.
Then we'll be overshadowed by the duck.
Yeah, for sure. The duck has already made the claim.
Yeah, could be.
For me.
That's where it's gone.
It's like gone for a wander so I can make claim to
and
this
they
land.
Need to call it Duckburg. And my life will be complete.
Here, this guy Jeremiah turns up with his two princes and his princess, and they go, "Welcome to our new land," and quack.
Can you imagine this massive giant, like this massive...
Now I'm visioning a turn-based battle.
Yeah, me too. That'd be awesome.
Sort of him and his three princes and princesses.
Whatever they may
on one end, and this giant duck, and it's like, duck is cracking. And
once you get it past a certain point of HP, the North Korean army come over. It's like, oh shit!
In my head, I've got 557's boss battle music in my head.
See, I haven't. I've got the Rufus Shinra theme. Him and his soldiers marching.
I'm dying.
Luke had dying of lurgy.
Oh, that was absolutely gold. I can actually see the battle screen and attack coming up from these little geezers. Oh, so good, so good. That was brilliant.
There you go.
All hail the rubber duck.
Hail. That's what we need to get a rubber duck on the table.
So I'm gonna get a rubber duck and a couple bobbleheads. We'll get some little anime women things to put there with big boobs so everyone can get upset, and then what else can we find? We need to find. So we'll have an offensive women. We'll have a dictator that everyone hates.
Woman. She's just swearing at everyone. You fucking bastards! I'm an offensive woman.
Then we'll have some really dodgy. I don't know. We'll think of something. We'll find an action figure.
So you want offensive
we could just have a bobblehead of Barbara Streisand.
or Vanessa Feltz.
Yeah. Oh God.
Job done.
I think that would be a bobblehead if it was Vanessa Feltz. We bought a fucking Weeble, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just get a Weevil that looks like a...
Yeah. Oh, if you look at a photo, whenever I see a photo, I just think, yeah, mustn't dressed as lamb whenever I see a photo.
You shouldn't go, yeah, when you're looking at a photo. Yeah.
No, not yeah in that way. She's horrible. I hate her. I hate her as a person. I listen to a radio show in the morning and it's so irritating. I just want to switch it off, but I can't.
Still listen to the radio?
Yes, I listen to the radio.
Everyone listens to listen to our podcast.
Yeah, but
don't tell them there's other ways to listen to things, you fool.
Yeah.
How else are they going to find out about the rubber duck rampage?
That is true. That is true.
Crazy fool.
The rubber duck did make it onto BBC News 5-minute news slot, which you know it's bad. It must be a slow news day when on the 5 minutes radio news they have to talk about the rubber duck. But the slowest news they've ever had, I distinctly remember sitting at university, had the radio on the background, and their news story of the day. This is at 5 o'clock, so it's all the important news story. One of their headline news stories, including a telephone interview, was about a guy who got a refund from Tesco's. I swear I'm not kidding about that. It's about a guy who looked at the Sales of Goods Act and got a refund at Tesco's.
Everyone, please just disconnect from life. If this is what media is in this country, if this is what qualifies as news...
How slow Newsday was it for them to feature that? And they had a phone interview with him.
How have they not gone bust yet? Have they gone bust yet?
Who?
Somewhere in the BBC, like someone in the BBC, like radio, has just got to go away.
Well, BBC's had a lot of problems recently, but
they're just cocking everything up. Look, your news is not news. No one gives a toss. Stop printing things. Stop broadcasting things. Just keep Top Gear and produce Sherlock. Then everything else just go away, please.
All hail the duck.
Yeah, and the duck.
All hail the duck.
If I don't see the duck on the front page
I'm
of everything,
usually being put off Sherlock purely because of the fan base. It's got a really bad fan base.
I haven't even paid attention. I don't pay attention to anything outside of other than the fact that the show is coming out at some point.
Mm.
I don't give a crap what other people think. They can go kill them.
You know we're talking about going off on tangents.
Yeah, this is one of them.
Yeah.
Considering we've already finished the podcast, congratulations. We've now got an outro-y bit.
Yeah. Extended by 6 minutes by having this all random time.
GG.
Yeah.
Rubber duck.
So, yeah. So, from my colleague here...
Oh, yeah, Scazius. What up?
Bard.
And the Suffolk Cram. Look forward to seeing the next one. All hail the rubber duck. See you
All
then.
hail the duck.
All hail the duck.
And find me some offensive things I can put here to go with me rubber duck, me woman with boobs.
I'll put an Xbox One on there.
No! Never! Right. I've got to stumble over to the make the thing.
Yeah.
To say people won't see it if it says an Xbox One there. We'll just find this brick. Great.
Hello, over here somewhere. Xbox, start the podcast.